The objectives of this resource are to further inform young coaches aged 16 to 20 about what coaching behaviors are, how they can be implemented, and how this can impact the coach-athlete relationship. This session should also help you reflect on your own coaching style and walk away with practical improvement ideas. Think back to the times where you were in the athlete's shoe. Take a minute to think about what things your coaches did in the past that didn't feel right to you, making you feel as if they aren't coaching effectively. Some things you might have thought of are too much instruction, scolding, punishments for doing anything wrong, or others. Now I want you to take another minute to think about the coaches that you would say were helpful and effective in your opinion. And once again, think about what those coaches did to make you feel as if they were effective. Did they use a lot of questions to make you actively think when they were explaining what to do? Did they just instruct you, or did they show you with demonstrations? All those ideas you have just thought of are called coaching behaviors. Coaching behaviors are the methods and approaches a coach adopts when communicating with a group of athletes during training. This table shows general coaching behaviors and definitions produced by the Arizona State University. This resource is used as an observation instrument in coaching analysis. Jowett and Cockrell also defined 4 different categories that these coaching behaviors can be divided into. The supportive category involves a coach showing care and encouragement with athletes, for example, praising an athlete's performance by saying well done. The directive category consists of giving instructions such as pre, concurrent, and post-instruction. A coach may also want to instruct athletes through the use of positive and negative demonstrations to enhance their understanding of technique or drill. The autonomy supportive category aims to encourage independence and athlete input throughout the training session. This can be done by posing questions throughout demonstrations to stimulate active learning and creative thinking. Finally, the last category is controlling. This approach is overly directive and does not focus on athlete involvement. An example of this would be where a coach is constantly giving instructions with little to no feedback, as well as scolding. Now here's a quick recap to see if you can apply the information given to the following question. Watch this short video and see if you can identify the coaching behaviors used in this clip.
So then, James, I want you to step forwards to the edge of the pool and hook your toes over the edge. I want your feet around shoulder width apart, so you've got a nice, stable base beneath you. Now then, I want you to put your hands up above your head into a nice streamlined position. Then start bending back from the hips and also bending the knees to around 120 degrees. Great. And now start rocking ever so slowly forwards, allowing gravity to take you. And then at the last moment, just put a little pop in, extend the legs.
What behaviors did you observe? Some of the behaviors that you might have noticed are use of first name when the coach says, "So then, James." Positive demonstration when the coach is physically showing them the arm positioning. Praise when the coach says great in response to the swimmer's technique. And finally, concurrent instruction throughout the entire video. Now that you have watched and identified the coaching behaviors shown in the video, can you determine which categories of coaching behaviors is used the most? Using the behaviors identified in the video, the coach's style is mostly supportive and directive. This can be seen through the use of praise and concurrent instruction with a focus on the athlete. Now think about how you coach and what behaviors you are utilizing the most when coaching your athletes. Keep in mind that these behaviors are just a reference to things you can implement into your coaching to get better results out of your athletes. For example, instead of instructing your athletes to just dive in the pool and do the drill written in the set, you can ask them, "Why do you think we are doing this drill?" Just by asking simple questions, this can help your athletes start getting into the habit of active learning. Active learning is a coaching approach which focuses on allowing the athletes to learn through engagement rather than passively receiving information. This can involve activities such as critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. These are all skills which are essential for athletes looking to improve their performance and will also help you as a coach get the best results out of your athletes. So, why is active learning so important for your coaching style? Well, firstly, it is an easy technique to enhance the athlete's understanding of the information you may be giving them and bridges the gap between theory and physical practice. Also, by encouraging self reflection and developing problem solving skills within the sport, the athlete is more likely to gain confidence, self awareness, and develop a quick, adaptable thinking style. These are all cognitive skills which are essential for sport and are crucial for high performance. I know personally, throughout years of being asked questions by coaches, I am now able to think and focus more on what I am doing in the pool and how it can affect the way I swim. Here's an example of a coach who has conditioned their swimmers to actively think through the use of questioning in previous training sessions.
Who is bringing their feet out of the water when they're doing this? Okay. What happens if you have your feet out of, or both feet out of the water during kick? What's propelling you forward? Nothing's moving you forward. You can't do it. That's right. No propulsion, Louis. Well done. Let's fix that. Keep your feet in the water. Keep your upper body nice and stable. Arch. You need more chest drive. You're too much from down here, not enough from up here. And I think it was Sandro and Oz. You guys are up too high in the hips, but you're not initiating from the hips to start the kick. You're both leading from the quads and bending through the knees.
Other than the use of questioning, what other coaching behaviors can be seen in this clip? In the previous video shown, the coach uses post-instruction in order to give feedback to his swimmers after completing a certain drill. He also uses positive with negative demonstration and use of first name when telling specific swimmers what they can do to improve on their fly kick. The way you coach and interact with your athletes can affect the relationship you have with them. This is called the coach-athlete relationship. This relationship you create with your athlete is important as it can affect the athlete's motivation to come to training and in turn the ability of which they perform at. In addition to this, the relationship you have as a coach with your athletes can also affect their development both within the sport as well as outside the sport. It can also impact the well-being of your athlete. This is especially so if you have athletes that may have harsher upbringings and use sport as an outlet to be themselves. The coach-athlete relationship can be measured using the 3 C's model by Sophia Jowett of closeness, commitment, and complementarity. Closeness refers to the emotional bond between the coach and the athlete and is based around a sense of mutual trust, respect, and empathy. This is apparent where an athlete enjoys working with the coach and feels safe enough to express themselves in return for the coach's support. For example, a coach may check in on the athlete's mental health and personal life rather than just their performance alone. Commitment is the shared dedication to the athlete's performance, which in turn leads to long-term intention to maintain the relationship by working together towards shared goals. This can be seen through acts of loyalty and willingness for both parties to invest time, energy, and effort into training. Finally, complementarity is the functional relationship between the coach and the athlete. In other words, how well they work together in terms of cooperation and share a mutual respect for one another. Signs of high complementarity involve the athlete feeling guided rather than controlled, and the athlete responding to the coach's leadership appropriately. This allows for there to be a fluid exchange of ideas and contribution from both parties. A weak coach-athlete relationship where this criteria is not met can cause poor communication, low motivation, and a higher risk of athlete dropout. However, a strong relationship between the two will lead to higher motivation, better performance, greater well-being, and a reduced chance of burnout. This model has been proven to be accurate, where the researcher created a questionnaire to measure the 3Cs in coach-athlete relationships and found that higher scores showed a stronger bond and better athlete outcomes overall. In addition to the 3Cs, Jowett also defined the 4 types of relationships possible between a coach and their athlete. The first is effective and successful, where an ideal relationship is maintained and achieves the best possible outcome, not only in terms of performance but also the dynamic between the two parties. Effective but unsuccessful, however, is where the athlete's relationship with their coach is strong, but this affects their performance in a negative way. This may be due to lack of discipline and focus on shared targets. Ineffective but successful is where the coach-athlete relationship is extremely poor, however, the athlete's performance still leads to successful outcomes. And finally, ineffective and successful is where the coach-athlete relationship is also poor and the athlete's performance is therefore not very good. Here's a video of Olympic gold medalist Cam McAvoy talking about how his relationship with his coach impacted him.
Sense. And then, like you said as well, just the psychological guidance in just well-being in and out of the pool, where I was when I first came to him compared to where he helped me get to, even before any of the 21s, even just throughout the season when we were just having the time of our lives, just creating something and seeing if it works and tweaking it and moving on from there. It's gone a long way, and he's definitely got a really good ability to understand how I operate, understand what's best for me, and I'm gearing off from that. And this season and the end results would be absolutely different if he.
Now take a minute to think about what things you can do to improve your relationships with your athletes. Here are some things that can be done specifically to develop coach-athlete relationship. Team dinners, team trips, social conversations with athletes outside of training. Other than increasing closeness, you can also improve the commitment and complementarity factors within your own coach-athlete relationship. These can be improved by, rather than expecting commitment from your athlete alone, you can also display your own commitment to their goals. In the context of swimming, this may involve showing up to your athletes' races and training sessions. By directly involving yourself in their progress, there's a higher chance that they will mirror this loyalty and trust in you as a coach. In order to improve complementarity amongst developing a friendship and close bond with your athlete, your specific roles must also be clear in order to establish mutual respect. This may involve setting expectations in terms of behavior and approach. In addition to this, the way you coach can also affect the relationship you build with your athletes. In other words, the coaching behaviors you use the most can reflect the relationships and your athletes. For example, think back once again in an athlete's perspective. Would you want to get to know or respect your coach if all they did was scold and punish you more than give you constructive praise? I know me personally as a coach, I found choosing the right coaching behaviors for a certain group of athletes to be important. For example, if you were coaching a university swim team, you're more likely to use more questioning than if you were coaching the top Olympic athletes. As a coach, your coach-athlete relationship should not focus solely on improving performance. It should also focus on being a role model to your athletes in terms of the way they act outside of training as well as within training. This is because not only does a coach help the athletes get better at the sports they are doing, but a coach also helps develop athletes' characters. The way your athletes act also reflect on you as a coach. So to summarize, next time you're coaching, think about the types of coaching behaviors you're exhibiting and what sort of coach you aim to be. Some of these behaviors may not come to you naturally, so it is important to always take a step back and look at how you approach your athletes. Additionally, you should also reflect on the relationships you share with your athletes and focus on ways to improve them. This will overall lead to success not only for your athletes in their performance, but also for your own personal growth as a coach.